The story begins by introducing a young girl, Amina, who lives with her family in a small, rural village. The village is poor, with homes made of mud bricks and thatched roofs. The community struggles to make ends meet, with farming being the primary source of income. Amina's family, in particular, faces extreme hardship. Her father, once a skilled farmer, has grown old and is no longer able to work the fields. Her mother, a kind but weary woman, spends her days doing laundry for others in the village, earning just enough to buy food for the family. Despite the love and care her parents offer, their poverty is evident in everything. Amina wears torn clothes, and her family's meals are often simple and scarce. Amina, who is bright and full of dreams, has always hoped for a different life. She longs to go to school, to read books and learn like the other children she has heard of in nearby towns. But with no money and her family's constant struggles, education seems like a distant dream. One day, her father receives an offer from a wealthy man who was known to buy young girls as servants for his grand household. Amina's father, desperate and overwhelmed by the pressures of his family's debts, sees the rich man's offer as a potential way to ease their burdens. He rationalizes that this may be the only chance to relieve their suffering, and perhaps, in time, Amina could live a better life, away from the constant hardship. The emotional conflict within the family is palpable. Amina's mother is heartbroken, but her love for her husband and the mounting pressure of their situation leave her no choice but to support the decision. Amina, too, feels torn. She loves her parents dearly and wants to help, but the thought of being sold into a life of servitude terrifies her. There is a deep sense of sadness and betrayal as she realizes that her childhood dreams will never come to fruition. The day has arrived when Amina's fate will be sealed. Her father, unable to bear the crushing weight of debt and poverty any longer, arranges to meet the wealthy man. They agree to meet in the middle of the village, where Amina's family lives, and it is here that the exchange will take place. The rich man arrives in a grand carriage, his horses gleaming under the sun, and his finely tailored clothes contrast sharply with the worn, simple garments of Amina and her family. The man's presence is imposing, his eyes cold and calculating as he appraises Amina with a quick, dismissive glance. To him, she is nothing more than another asset to add to his growing collection of servants. His wealth is evident in every aspect of his appearance, from his polished boots to the expensive jewelry adorning his fingers. Amina's heart races, her hands trembling as she stands beside her father, her eyes unable to meet the man's. She knows what is happening, and the weight of it presses down on her chest, suffocating her. Her father stands tall, but his eyes are filled with sorrow, knowing he is sacrificing his daughter for the hope of financial relief. The rich man, with a few sharp words, hands over a small bag of coins to Amina's father in exchange for her. The money seems so little in comparison to what he is taking, and yet, in the father's eyes, it is a solution to his deepest troubles. Amina's mother stands behind them, her face hidden by her hands as silent tears fall. She is devastated, but the reality of their situation leaves her feeling helpless. She watches as her daughter is sold, the last bit of her childhood slipping away. Amina, too, feels a deep sense of betrayal. She had hoped, perhaps naively, that things might change, that she might be saved. But now, standing in front of this man, her life as she knew it is slipping away. She looks at her family one last time, seeing the pain in her mother's eyes, the shame in her father's, and she wonders if she will ever see them again. The rich man's wealth is overwhelming, a constant reminder of how far removed he is from Amina's world. He is the epitome of power and luxury, surrounded by servants who defer to him, living in a mansion filled with riches, while Amina and her family live in destitution. The contrast between their worlds couldn't be starker, his life filled with abundance, and hers defined by hardship. This moment is a stark reminder of how the gap between the rich and the poor can create a chasm of difference in their lives. But as Amina is led away from her family, there is a small flicker of hope in her heart. The rich man's mansion, though daunting, could be her escape from poverty, her opportunity for a better life, away from the suffering she's known. The hope of something better nags at her, but it is quickly drowned by fear. The future is uncertain, and her heart is heavy with doubt. Amina's arrival at the rich man's mansion marks the beginning of a life she never imagined. The house is grand, with towering marble columns and long, winding corridors. The opulence of the place is overwhelming, a stark contrast to the humble surroundings of her village. She feels like a stranger in this unfamiliar world, where everything is polished, pristine, and cold. The smell of fresh flowers and expensive perfumes fills the air, but it does little to comfort her. She is a small figure in a grand palace, lost and out of place. Her role in the house is clear from the moment she steps inside: she is to be a servant. The rich man's mansion is staffed with other workers, each one performing their own duties, but Amina is assigned the most menial tasks. She cleans the grand halls, scrubs the marble floors, and cooks the elaborate meals that the family enjoys daily. Though she works tirelessly, she is treated like an invisible presence, often given harsh orders without a word of kindness. She is just another servant, another face in a long line of those who work to maintain the household's luxurious lifestyle. Amina's internal struggle grows with each passing day. Her mind constantly drifts back to her family and the simple life she once knew. She longs for the comfort of her mother's presence, for the warmth of her father's voice, and for the simplicity of the life they had in the village, despite its hardships. The mansion's cold walls seem to close in on her as she works, and she often feels a sense of profound loneliness. She is surrounded by people, but no one speaks to her with kindness or warmth. She is nothing more than a tool to be used for their comfort. Her sense of loss deepens as she is forced to adapt to the rhythms of a life she never asked for. She has to learn the rules of the mansion, how to please the rich man and his family, how to keep her head down, how to survive in this new world that feels both suffocating and unwelcoming. Each task is a reminder of her helplessness. The long hours, the exhaustion, and the unrelenting demands weigh heavily on her. She can barely recall the girl she once was, the one with dreams and aspirations, because this new reality is so overwhelming. But amid the pain and loneliness, Amina finds small moments of solace. The kitchen, though cold and isolated, becomes her safe haven. She often spends hours there, preparing meals, using her hands to create something nourishing, something tangible. It reminds her of the care her mother once put into making their simple meals. Though the rich man and his family seem oblivious to her presence, she starts to find a quiet strength in her ability to endure, to adapt, to survive. She may be far from home, but she is still here, and that in itself is a small victory. Just as Amina begins to resign herself to the suffocating routine of her new life, something changes, something she never could have expected. It starts with a small incident. One evening, the rich man, whose face Amina has come to associate with coldness and authority, unexpectedly enters the kitchen where she's preparing dinner. He's usually aloof, rarely acknowledging her presence except to issue commands, but this time, he seems different. His demeanor is not as stern as usual, and his eyes, though still calculating, carry a hint of something else, something Amina can't quite place. He watches her for a few moments, and then, to her shock, he asks, "How are you finding things here, Amina?" The question catches her off guard. In the time she's been at the mansion, not a single person has shown any genuine interest in her well-being. The rich man's voice is softer, less commanding, and Amina, still processing the sudden kindness, finds herself hesitating before answering. I am doing as well as I can, sir," she replies, her voice trembling slightly. The rich man's gaze lingers on her for a moment longer, and then, to her further astonishment, he speaks in a tone of quiet compassion. "I know this life isn't easy for you. I understand that." Amina can hardly believe her ears. The man who had once seemed so distant, even cruel, is now showing signs of empathy. Her mind races. Could this be the beginning of a change? Could he be offering her something more than just servitude? In the days that follow, the rich man's behavior shifts in subtle ways. He starts to treat her with more respect, offering her small comforts. He ensures she is well fed and even begins to take notice of her talents in the kitchen, praising her cooking. No longer is she just a nameless servant, she is seen, acknowledged, and for the first time, treated as a person, not as an object to be used. The real twist, however, comes when the rich man does something completely unexpected. One morning, Amina is called to his office. When she enters, she finds him seated at a large desk, with a stack of papers in front of him. He gestures for her to sit. "I've been thinking," he begins, his tone serious but not unkind. "You've been working here for quite some time, and I realize you are far more than just a servant. I want to offer you a new position, a chance to learn, to grow beyond this household." Amina's heart races. she has no idea where this is going. The rich man then makes an offer that seems too good to be true. He tells her that he will pay for her education, give her a place to stay in the mansion, and train her in the ways of running a business. He says he sees potential in her, something she has always known deep down but never thought anyone else would recognize. The shock of this offer overwhelms her. Is this a trap? Could it be a game to further humiliate her? But as the days pass, she realizes this is not a trick. The rich man's unexpected change of heart is real, and he truly seems to want to help her. This twist, the rich man offering Amina the chance to rise above her circumstances, to escape the life of servitude she once thought inescapable, changes everything. It's a complete reversal of everything Amina believed to be true about her future. She is no longer a mere servant, she is given the chance to pursue her dreams, a chance for independence, growth, and a better life than she ever imagined possible. The unexpected offer from the rich man marks a pivotal moment in Amina's life. The opportunity to learn, to grow, and to escape the life of servitude she once thought would define her forever begins to reshape her future. As she embarks on this new path, the journey is not easy, but it is filled with profound moments of transformation that lead to her ultimate empowerment. Over time, Amina starts to learn the intricacies of managing the rich man's estate, assisting with business decisions, and developing skills she never thought she would acquire. Her work in the kitchen shifts from a mere survival task to something she excels at. The rich man takes her under his wing, teaching her the value of business acumen, hospitality, and even the finer details of managing wealth. He encourages her to express her ideas, respect her own worth, and understand her potential. As she gains more knowledge, Amina begins to realize her own capabilities. Not just as a servant, but as a woman who can rise beyond the boundaries of her circumstances. This period of growth is not without its struggles. Amina still grapples with the emotional scars of her past. She remembers the loss of her childhood, the separation from her family, and the overwhelming loneliness she once felt in the mansion. However, each day she works alongside the rich man, each task she completes, she begins to see a path forward, a path that does not involve serving others but becoming someone in her own right. With each success, she gains a little more confidence, a little more belief in herself. Her first major breakthrough comes when the rich man entrusts her with running a major event at the mansion, something that had always been handled by other more experienced staff. With determination, Amina plans and executes the event flawlessly. The guests are impressed, and the rich man is visibly proud of her. This is the moment when Amina understands her own power. She has not only proven herself to the rich man, but more importantly, she has proved something to herself, that she is capable of achieving great things. But the story does not end in simple success. Amina's growth also leads to a moment of difficult decision-making. She is now faced with the choice of whether to stay in the mansion, where she has built a comfortable, yet confined life, or to leave and pursue the independence she has long desired. The rich man, seeing the transformation in Amina, offers her full autonomy. She is free to leave if she wishes, with his blessing. In an emotional final moment, Amina makes the decision to leave the mansion, not out of bitterness or rejection, but because she has finally found the strength to stand on her own. She now knows she can carve her own path in the world, independent and free from the constraints of the past. Before she leaves, she thanks the rich man, acknowledging that he gave her more than just an opportunity, he gave her the belief in herself. As she walks away from the mansion, Amina is no longer the frightened, helpless girl who was sold to a stranger. She is a woman empowered by her own choices, with the knowledge and skills to make a difference in her own life and in the lives of others. She carries with her not just the lessons learned in the mansion, but also the courage to take control of her destiny. In the final scene, we see Amina starting a new chapter, perhaps opening her own business or advocating for other girls in similar situations, using the wealth of knowledge she has gained. The story closes on the note of her newfound freedom, a testament to her strength, resilience, and the profound change she underwent. The resolution is not just about Amina escaping her circumstances but about her growth into a confident, empowered individual. She has become the architect of her own fate, and the lessons of the past, both the pain and the opportunities, are what have shaped her into someone who will never again feel powerless. The story ends with a reflection on the power of personal transformation, the impact of kindness and opportunity, and the belief that no matter how difficult the beginning, we all have the power to change our own lives. As Amina steps into her new life, she is no longer the same girl who was sold into servitude. She has been transformed not just by the wealth or knowledge she has acquired, but by the very act of taking control of her own future. The story underscores the idea that while external circumstances may limit us for a time, our inner strength, resilience, and choices ultimately determine who we become. Amina's journey from a vulnerable, powerless girl to an empowered, confident woman is a powerful testament to human potential and the transformative power of self-belief. In this final part, the focus shifts from Amina's physical journey to her emotional and psychological growth. The mansion that once represented a prison of servitude now symbolizes a space where Amina learned her worth, honed her abilities, and gained a new perspective on life. The rich man, once a symbol of cold authority, becomes an unlikely mentor, showing that change can come from unexpected places. His shift in behavior demonstrates that people can change, and that kindness, when offered genuinely, has the power to uplift and transform even the most difficult situations. Amina's choice to leave the mansion is a symbolic act of reclaiming her autonomy. It signifies that she is no longer bound by her past or by the decisions made for her. She has outgrown the life she was forced into and is ready to chart her own path. The final decision to pursue independence, rather than remain in the comfort of her current position, shows her strength, determination, and belief in her own worth. The closing reflection also emphasizes a broader societal message: the importance of opportunity, kindness, and the potential for change. Amina's story suggests that true empowerment comes not just from escaping difficult circumstances, but from the growth that happens within, and the choices we make to shape our own destiny. The story ends with a sense of hope, not only for Amina but for anyone who finds themselves in a situation that feels impossible to overcome. It leaves the audience with a message that no matter how difficult the beginning of one's journey may be, it is never too late to change the course of your life. Just like Amina, anyone can find the strength to rise above their circumstances, to pursue their dreams, and to become the person they were always meant to be.